Discover the incredible night when a little girl and newborn were saved by a heroic cop and dog. It was a crisp autumn evening in Maplewood, and the kind of night that sang with the colors of falling leaves. The sky was a tapestry of oranges and purples, but in one quiet house, there was a storm brewing. Sarah, a single mother, clutched her 6-year-old daughter, Mia, close. In her other arm, the weight of a baby carrier anchored her, hiding her fears but unable to mask her resolve. Just as the sun dipped low, their golden retriever, Charlie, bolted from the yard, tail wagging and barking excitedly. Sarah called out, but the dog was already lost in the swirl of leaves. Frantic, she dashed after him, glancing back to ensure Mia was safe. She had seen this neighborhood's whispers, the narrow eyes of judgment. They wouldn't see her struggle, her hard work, or her late nights working to make ends meet. They'd only see a mother who lost control, who threatened the safety of her children. "Mommy! Wait!" Mia cried, chasing after her mother but losing her footing. In that split second, it happened. Sarah realized, too late, that her arms were empty. The baby! Panic surged through her veins. She turned, heart racing, dread pooling in her stomach. A neighborhood filled with people meant they heard her scream, but they didn't see her heart shattering. Meanwhile, Officer Mike was patrolling the town, lights flashing and K-9 Scout beside him. He relished his role as protector, feeling the weight of every challenge the community faced. Yet tonight, burdened by something deep, an uneasy heaviness clung to his heart. But when the call came through, everything changed. Sarah's desperate voice cut through the airwaves, choking back sobs, frantically explaining the looming nightmare. Mike's instincts kicked in. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The crisp air felt electric as Mike and Scout rushed through the streets. Shadows danced from the lights of porches where families were watching the sunset. He could see figures gathering, murmurs of discontent swirling like the leaves around him. Some of their eyes were cold, and he felt the collective judgment hanging heavy in the air. They didn't know Sarah's fight, the endless sacrifices she made for her children. They saw only the failings, but Mike pushed through. As each moment passed, urgency cranked higher. His mind raced as he navigated through memories of past victories, of nights where courage had saved lives. The stakes were rising. Then, a shout rang out. Someone thought they spotted the baby. Hope and tension braided together. Each heartbeat resonated with the possibility of a miracle. Officer Mike accelerated, heart in sync with footsteps pounding against the pavement. As darkness enveloped Maplewood, the community held its breath, standing on the cusp of a revelation. They were about to see the true meaning of compassion and resilience. Would they come together to heal the rifts between them? Could forgiveness blossom in the face of chaos, in a world so quick to judge? The night hummed with the promise of change, and as they rushed into the unknown, the question lingered, could this be the moment that united them all? The shouts faded into the wind as Mike sprinted, gaining momentum with each stride. The night felt both constricting and alive, wrapping around him like a cloak. Each flicker of light from the homes he raced past painted a contrasting picture to the concern etched on his face. He could hear Scout's paws pounding against the ground beside him, a trusted companion who sensed the urgency radiating from Mike. "Where are you, little one?" he murmured, desperation clawing at him. He couldn't shake the fear of what might happen if they didn't find the baby soon. Meanwhile, Sarah was gripped by chaos, her heart pounding wildly in her chest. Her world felt upside down, and she fought against the wave of panic threatening to engulf her. "Charlie! Please, come back!" she cried, her voice wavering as she darted through the chaos. Every quiet creak of the night felt like a reminder of everything she had to lose. "Mia, stay close," Sarah called, her eyes darting back to her daughter, who clung to a nearby tree, her small frame trembling like a leaf. For a moment, fear overshadowed the deep-rooted bond of trust between them. Sarah knelt in front of Mia, gripping her arms firmly but gently. "You have to listen, sweetheart. We'll find him. We will." Mia blinked back tears, her wide eyes mirroring her mother's desperation. "I want Charlie," she cried, her voice a tiny echo of the dread that filled the air. Just then, a glimmer of movement caught Mike's eye. A small cluster of people gathered in the park, their murmurs loud enough to pierce the urgency that wrapped around him. He slowed, scanning the faces, fear and uncertainty clouded each one. "Did anyone see a baby? Has anyone seen Sarah?" Mike shouted, his authority cutting through the tension. "We thought we heard something by the fountain," someone called back, pointing with trembling hands. Without missing a beat, Mike turned to Scout. "Let us go." With a sudden burst of speed, they were off again, heading toward the sound of distant laughter that now felt haunting against the backdrop of their desperate search. The shadows grew long, blending into the darkness of night, but Mike's focus sharpened. Hope flickered in his chest. Scout picked up the scent eagerly, pulling Mike forward. As they rounded a bend, there it was, the fountain bathed in moonlight, its gentle trickle sounding like a beacon of hope amidst despair. And then, amidst the crowd, he spotted them, Sarah, her face streaked with tears, still searching, still fighting. "Sarah!" he shouted, rushing into view, her gaze snapped up, meeting his. For a breathless moment, time stretched, and the world around them became inconsequential. The air crackled with emotion as hope flared like a candle fighting against the dark. "Help!" she gasped, the tone raw with terror. Before Mike could take a step toward her, Scout sprang ahead, tail wagging, another flame of hope dancing in the darkness. The dog bounded directly to a nearby tree, sniffing excitedly. Then, to Sarah's astonishment, a small figure tumbled from behind it, Charlie with the baby carrier clutched tightly in his mouth. In a matter of seconds, sorrow melted into joy. Laughter replaced screams, and love surged against fear. As Sarah lunged forward, hands reaching, the atmosphere shifted from despair to warmth as every heart united for the briefest moment, but relief carried its own burdens, and deep down, beneath the jubilation, questions still lingered. This night had changed everything, but could they leave the shadows of judgment behind? As Mike watched the scene unfold, a flicker of understanding dawned. He turned, ready to join the family in their moment of triumph, but instinctively he could feel the challenges still lurking in the corners of Maplewood. Could they turn tonight's chaos into a path toward healing? The air buzzed with possibility, yet razor-sharp uncertainty remained. With hearts racing and decisions looming, another question hung in the air: what price would they need to pay for a fresh start? Mike felt a wave of relief wash over him as Sarah clutched Charlie tight, her sobs muffled against his shoulder. The darkness seemed to lift, if only a little, under the glow of the moonlight reflecting off the fountain. Laughter erupted from the gathered group, mixing with the soothing sound of water flowing, yet in the back of his mind, shadows lingered. What really happened tonight? Scout stood proudly with his tail wagging, but even he sensed the tension still crackling in the air. "You did great, boy," Mike whispered, bending down to ruffle Scout's fur. His heart pounded not just from the chase, but from a newfound determination to protect this family and their neighborhood. "Are you all right?" he asked Sarah, who was starting to collect herself but still trembled slightly. "We're okay, thanks to you, Mike," she replied, her eyes glistening not just from tears but from a spark of hope rekindled. I thought I lost him." "We're not going anywhere," Mike assured, trying to keep the worry from his own voice. "Let us get away from here for now. We can talk at home." Mia stepped forward, her small hand gripping her mother's leg as she peered up at Mike. "Can we have ice cream? It's a happy day now." Her innocent suggestion turned the atmosphere lighter, and everyone chuckled. "Sure, why not?" Mike said, although the offer sounded more like a distraction from the night's horrors than a genuine treat for them all. "Let us just get you all home first. I'll take you." With arms wrapped around each other, the family began to walk, leaving behind the park's unsettling echoes. Mike felt gratitude wash over him. Their connection felt deeper now. They weren't just neighbors. They were allies. He glanced down at Scout, who led the way, a furry guardian ready to face whatever darkness loomed ahead. As they strolled through the quiet streets, bursts of laughter rolled out from the nearby homes, a stark contrast to the quieter moments they had just endured. Mike glanced back at Sarah, whose smile had returned but held traces of uncertainty. It was the kind of happiness that fluttered in the chest yet felt a little fragile, like it might slip away with a sudden breeze. "What do you think happened, Mike?" Sarah asked. The question hovered between them, thick with what they had all just faced. "Honestly? I'm not sure," he admitted, scratching his chin. "But something feels off, you know?" "The way everything happened." Sarah nodded, her brow creased with thought. "Mia didn't just lose Charlie, something made him run away," Mike continued. "Kids don't just wander." "Not usually." Mia's eyes darted nervously for a moment, but she kept quiet, oblivious to the weight of their conversation. They reached Sarah's home, the familiar yellow glow of the porch light welcoming. As they stepped onto the porch, the warmth seeped in, but Mike couldn't shake the feeling of lurking shadows outside. The night had transformed them, but what if it only prelude to more chaos? "Let us just take a moment to breathe and be thankful we're all together," Sarah said, sinking onto the front steps. The reflection of the moon in her eyes sparked a thought, a mix of light and darkness battling it out. "Every danger has its shadows, doesn't it?" Mike whispered. "It feels like we just scratched the surface tonight." He knew they would need to unpack what had happened and be ready for whatever challenge might come next. Would they be able to protect the sanctity of their world, or had they invited trouble by simply existing in it? As he looked toward the stars twinkling in the expansive sky, a flicker of doubt gnawed at him. What else was lurking in the corners of Maplewood? The soft breeze picked up, carrying the distant sounds of laughter from the neighborhood, a melody both inviting and chilling. Tonight was not an ending, but a new beginning. The question remained, as thick as the night itself: who would step into the light, and who would be pulled back into the dark? The following morning, a hush settled over Maplewood, the kind that often follows a storm. Mike awoke early, the sun filtering through the blinds and casting gentle stripes across his room. He couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't out of the woods yet. Rubbing sleep from his eyes, he swung his legs over the side of the bed. Scout, always attuned to his mood, hopped up beside him, tail thumping eagerly. Mike scratched behind Scout's ears and sighed. "What's in store for us today, buddy?" Outside, the world was waking slowly, but an unsettling stillness rested in the air. After taking a deep breath, he decided to head over to Sarah's house. He needed to talk to her, to delve deeper into what had happened the night before. He grabbed a cup of coffee, some biscuits for the family, and took off down the familiar path. As he approached Sarah's doorstep, he noticed the porch swing was still. Mia, usually full of energy, wasn't bouncing around either. Mike knocked lightly, hoping to break the spell that seemed to hang around the house. A moment later, Sarah opened the door, her expression brightening slightly when she saw him. "Hey, Mike," she said, wiping her hands on a kitchen towel. But there was a weight behind her smile. "Mia's still asleep. Rough night." "Yeah, I can imagine," he replied, stepping inside. The scent of coffee mingled with the remnants of last night's dinner, but it wasn't enough to mask the tension that had settled within the walls. "Is Charlie okay?" he asked tentatively, knowing that the question was loaded. "Yeah, he's got a few bruises but otherwise fine," Sarah said. "But, there's something I need to share." A knot formed in Mike's stomach as he settled into a chair. "What is it?" "I was up late," thinking about everything that happened, Sarah began, her voice trembling slightly. And I remembered something. When I was calling Mia at the park, there was a man. I think I saw him watching us. He didn't look right. Like he was waiting. Mike's heart raced, the porch light flickering as if in response to the chill creeping in. What do you mean waiting? He was just standing there, in the shadows. I thought I must be imagining things because of the panic, but when I close my eyes, I see him. I didn't mention it yesterday because I didn't want to scare Mia or you. Sarah, this is important, Mike said, leaning forward. Do you remember anything else? What did he look like? Her eyes widened as she dug deep into her memory. I remember he had a dark hoodie, and I thought it was strange how he blended into the night. Like he was part of it. Mike's pulse quickened. It wasn't just the events of the night before. There was something sinister, something hunting in the dark. He could feel the weight of responsibility bearing down on him, the need to act rising within. What if he is still around? He whispered, his thoughts racing. What if he is watching us? Before she could respond, they heard a soft thud from upstairs. Both froze, eyes darting toward the staircase. Mia's voice floated down, uncertain but curious. Mom? Mike? Everything's fine, sweetie. Sarah called out, attempting to keep her voice steady. Mike just sat there, a tense silence stretching between them, each heartbeat heavy with foreboding. Then Scout suddenly stood, ears perked up and low growl reverberating in his throat. Mike's instincts kicked in, something was wrong. Sarah, grab Mia. We need to protect our own. In a split second, the shadow of their reality loomed even larger. Who was lurking in the darkness, and would they step out into the light before it was too late? The thud from upstairs echoed again, and Mike could feel the hairs on the back of his neck prickling. The fear that gripped him was raw and immediate, clawing at his chest. Go! He said to Sarah, his voice urgent. He could barely keep himself still, his fingers twitching as he prepared for anything. Under normal circumstances, the sound of Mia's voice would have brought a spark of warmth to his heart, but with the lingering shadow of danger, it only heightened his frenzy. Okay, Sarah breathed, her eyes darting toward the staircase. He could see her heart racing, too. I'll go get her. Just before she could finish, another noise crashed down. This time it sounded like a chair scraping against the wooden floor, and a rush of adrenaline flooded Mike's veins. He glanced at Scout, whose instincts were at an all-time high, the growl deepening to a menacing snarl. Mike nodded toward the hallway as Sarah hesitated, clearly torn between fetching Mia and checking the source of the disturbance. Just go. Mike urged, tension pouring from him. He stepped towards the staircase, the creaks beneath his feet amplifying the dread that filled the house. Stay close. Sarah instructed, her voice steadying. She took off toward the staircase, her heart racing but focused. Mike's mind fought against the rising panic. He couldn't just wait here, frozen. With each step he took, his resolve solidified. He had to confront whatever was up there. He wasn't about to let fear dictate his next move. Scout, stay. He commanded sharply, wanting to keep the dog by Sarah's side. Scout obeyed but stayed alert, body tense and watchful. As Sarah moved cautiously up the stairs, Mike slipped into the nearby dining room. The sunlight spilled through the window, casting long shadows that made the room feel even more uncertain. It wasn't just about protecting Mia anymore. Something instinctive urged him to uncover the malevolent presence that lingered in their lives. Mike! Came Sarah's call from upstairs, interrupted by a soft gasp. His heart sank. He turned and sprinted up the stairs, footsteps echoing behind him. What is happening? He shouted, ascending the last few steps. The air was thick with tension, and he could feel his heart pounding in his ears, drowning out everything else. When he reached the top, he found Sarah standing wide-eyed at Mia's bedroom door. The door was ajar, light spilling into the dim hallway, but the room was doused in a fearful silence. Mike stepped forward, taking the lead. "Mia?" he called out softly, keeping his voice low and calm despite the adrenaline coursing through him. A tiny voice came from within. "I'm here, Daddy." Relief washed over Mike momentarily, but the tension didn't let up. Slowly, he nudged the door open wider, peering in. The sight before him froze him in place. Mia was sitting on her bed, a blanket pulled taut around her. But at her feet was a dark figure, lurking in the shadows, half hidden behind the dresser. The sense that he was in the presence of something sinister enveloped him. "Who are you?" Mike's voice boomed, turning harsh and commanding. The figure remained still, shrouded in uncertainty, shadows bending around him like smoke. The realization struck Mike: the man Sarah had seen was right here, in their home, and he had to protect his family. "Get behind me!" he shouted at his daughter, instinctively putting himself between Mia and the looming threat. As he moved swiftly to confront the figure, he felt an electric charge in the air, like calm moments before a storm. Then, just when he thought he had reached the limit of his courage, the stranger took a step forward. Who was this man? And what did he want with Mia? The shadowed figure shifted, shrouded in darkness, but Mike could see a glint of something in his eyes. Was it desperation? Fear? Whatever it was, it grabbed at Mike's chest, tightening like a vice. "Stay back," Mike commanded, his voice crackling with authority. His heart roared in his chest as he took a step closer, shielding Mia further with his body. The man raised a hand slowly, as if to show he meant no harm. "I'm not here to hurt anyone," he said, his voice low and unsteady. I need to speak to Mia." "Speak to her? About what?" Mike's suspicion heightened, anger simmering just beneath the surface. Protecting Mia was his first priority, and he wasn't about to let this unknown person get anywhere near her. "I'm her father." The words hung in the air, and for a moment, silence fell like a heavy curtain. Mike's breath caught, his mind racing. Father? The thought felt like flames licking at his insides. What kind of father were you if you were lurking in the shadows? "That's not possible," he said, forcing the words through gritted teeth. "You're lying." "I'm not. I swear." The man took another hesitant step, and the floor creaked beneath him, causing Scout to bark sharply, snapping the tension like a rubber band. "Enough!" Mike shouted. He could feel adrenaline coursing through him, igniting every sense. "Get away from her." Mia tugged at his shirt, her small voice trembling. "Daddy, please." He's telling the truth. Mike's gaze snapped to hers, wide eyes filled with conflicting emotions. How could she even recognize him? Fear coursed through him anew, cutting deeper than before. "Mia, no. You don't know him." "I do," she insisted, her voice rising with urgency. "I met him in my dreams. Sometimes, at night. He helps me when I'm scared. Please trust me." For a moment, time seemed to suspend. Mike's heart broke, caught between his protective instincts and the trust in his daughter's eyes. "Mia," he began, but doubts twisted in his gut. "He came to me, Daddy. He said he loves me, he just wants to help." The stranger's face transformed with an intensity of emotion that left Mike momentarily speechless. "I do love her. I've been looking for you both." His words faltered, a flicker of pain crossing his features. "They kept me away for too long." A whisper of doubt tugged at Mike. Should he listen? Or was this just another trick? Every instinct in him screamed to keep Mia safe. Yet, her face was pleading, searching for understanding. "Why should I trust you?" Mike demanded, keeping his protective stance. "Because you've been protecting her from the truth." The man's voice lowered, raw with emotion. "Mia is in danger, and I'm the only one who can help." The clouds of uncertainty swirled around Mike, creating a vortex of doubt and fear. If there was even a hint of truth in the man's words, what should he do? For a heartbeat, silence lingered, and the weight of the moment bore down on him. Just when he thought he had to make a choice, the house trembled with a low rumble, sending icy dread through him. What was that? Sarah's voice broke through from behind him, her presence grounding him amidst the chaos. Mike turned slightly, maintaining his unwavering stance. "We need to get out of here," he said, glancing back at the man. "But if you're telling the truth, you need to prove it." Another tremor rocked the house, and he could swear he heard whispers, echoing through the walls, words of uncertainty, fear, and a past intertwined with theirs. As he wrestled with his next move, he realized that every choice they made could lead to salvation or disaster. What lurked outside their door? And would they have enough time to uncover the truth before it was too late? Mike's heart raced as he surveyed the room, scanning the shadows for any sign of danger. The man's eyes glistened with something deep, an emotion that spoke of regret and longing. It unsettled Mike more than he cared to admit. "Mia," he said slowly, crouching down to her level. "I need you to listen to me. You can't trust him, not completely. We don't know who he really is. But he is Daddy." Her little hands gripped his arm tightly, and he could feel her tremble. The innocence in her voice tore at him, enticing him to believe. "Mia," his voice cracked. "What if he is lying? We can't just." Another rumble shook the house, stronger this time. Dust fell from the ceiling, and he caught Sarah's worried expression reflected in the dim light. "We have to go. Now." The man shifted his weight, and the tension in his stance transformed from one of fear to something almost desperate. "Please, listen. You have to trust her. There are things I can explain, but we have no time." Mike's instincts screamed at him to run, to flee with Mia and Sarah. Yet the man's intensity was magnetic, his plea a siren's song in the chaotic storm brewing around them. "Mia, what do you want to do?" Mike asked, his voice softer now, trying to meet her gaze without forcing her to choose. "I want to know the truth, Daddy," she whispered, her eyes wide and searching. Please. Mike's heart sank. Could he really deny her this? Did he even have the right? Yet the ever-present risk hung heavily in the air. They were running out of time for answers, time to escape whatever was threatening them. "Tell me what you know," Mike demanded, turning his fierce gaze back to the man, desperation blending with fury. "Tell me, and it better be good." The man took a deep breath, his nostrils flaring. "I won't let anything happen to her, I swear it. There are forces at play here, dark forces. They want both of you, and they'll stop at nothing. I'm here to protect you." A crash echoed from the back of the house, and Scout let out a low growl, tension radiating from his body. "Enough of this!" Mike shouted, the ferocity of his voice reverberating through the room. "Do you really expect me to just believe you? You think I'm going to let you carry Mia away because you say you're her father? Prove it something." The man's face twisted with pain, as if each accusation struck like a physical blow. "You think I wanted this?" He breathed, his voice becoming heavy. "I wish things were different. But I never stopped looking for you, Mia. Your safety is everything to me." There was a flicker of hope in Mia's eyes, and Mike felt his resolve wobble. "Who kept you away?" Mike pressed, wrestling with the emotions coursing through him. "What threats are out there?" Before the man could respond, the ground quaked again, more violently now. The walls began to fracture, images rattling off the walls as they clung together in the wake of the rumbling chaos. "This is getting worse," Sarah shouted, edging toward the exit. "Please," the man urged, desperation filling his voice. "I don't have much time. I need you to understand before it's too late." Mike's heart raced, conflicting loyalties crashing together. The darkness of doubt swirled, but he could feel Mia's eyes boring into him, her trust weighing against the threat looming outside. "Okay," Mike finally said, breathing out slowly. "Tell me. But you better be ready to prove who you are. We have no more time for lies. Stop! Called a voice from somewhere beyond the shadows. An unfamiliar tone, sharp and piercing. As the door flew open, blinding light flooded the hall, catching everyone off guard. Mike stepped forward instinctively, ready to shield them from whatever emerged next. The tension peaked as they stood suspended between danger and revelation, their fates intertwined. Would they find the truth in the face of danger, or would they be swallowed by the shadows? From the doorway, a figure emerged, bringing with it a whole new layer of uncertainty. The figure stepped into the light, and Mike's breath caught in his throat. It was a woman, tall and confident, her uniform crisp against the chaotic backdrop. She scanned the room, her eyes landing on the man before shifting to Mike and then Mia. There was a steeliness to her gaze, an unwavering focus that immediately put Mike on high alert. "Who are you?" Mike said, his voice taut with tension. "I'm Officer Riley," she replied, her voice calm yet commanding. "And you need to come with me. It's not safe here." "Safe?" Mike scoffed, glancing back at the man, who now looked both desperate and on the verge of breaking down. "That guy claims to be Mia's father. I need to know more before we leave." Officer Riley stepped further into the room, eyes narrowed. "That man is not what he appears to be, and I can explain everything, but not here. We're under threat, and the walls won't hold much longer." Mia's tiny fingers tightened around Mike's arm, her eyes wide, darting back and forth between the adults as if waiting for someone to make the right choice. He felt her fear echoing inside him, an urgency rising with every passing second. "Mike, we have to go," Sarah urged, her voice trembling, glancing at the cracks forming in the walls, fresh dust spiraling down around them. The urgency grew palpable. The man opened his mouth, but Officer Riley cut him off. "You don't have the time to hear him out, trust me. The forces he mentioned, they're here, right now." More rumbles shook the house. It felt as if the very ground they stood on was alive with some foreboding energy. Mike's heart hammered against his ribs, pounding with thoughts racing through his mind. What if Officer Riley was lying? The world spun with shards of doubt. But Mia's frightened face made the choice clear: he couldn't let her down. His protective instincts surged forth. "Okay," he said, finally meeting her gaze. "We'll trust her." "But what about him?" Mike pointed at the man, his voice heavy with uncertainty. "I'll keep him here," Officer Riley assured, her stance unwavering. "You and the girl are my priority. We will get to safety. There's no time to waste." Before Mike could think of the ramifications, he felt Mia tugging at him, her small voice rising above the commotion. "Daddy, please, I want to go with you." The chaos crashed around them as Mike took a deep breath, feeling the weight of Mia's trust pressing down on him. "All right, let us go," he said, taking Mia's hand firmly in his own, glancing back one last time at the man. The officer led the way, her purpose clear as the three of them dashed toward the door. But the man called out, his voice filled with a mix of desperation and anger. "You don't really believe her. You'll regret this." Mike's heart clenched, torn as he raced to follow Officer Riley and secure Mia against the approaching storm. The world outside was nothing like he expected. In the chaos of the moment, a stray thought pushed its way through his fear. What if the man was telling the truth? What if they had left behind someone who genuinely wanted to protect them? They burst outside into the open air, and Mike squinted against the blinding sunlight, taking in the destruction around them. There were more officers, their radios blaring, the echoes of sirens piercing the air. Yet, the pulse of fear still throbbed in his veins, pulling him in all directions. "Where do we go now?" he asked, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. "Follow me," Officer Riley shouted, sprinting toward a group of people gathered in a nearby field. As they ran, heartbeats racing in unison, Mike couldn't shake the feeling that the man's words would linger long after they fled, casting a shadow he might never escape. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he spotted a familiar sight: Scout, his dog, still circling the remains of their home. Mike's heart leaped. Scout! He turned instinctively to go back, but Officer Riley caught his arm. No! We can't risk it. Trust me. Mike shouted, pulling away. He had to know if Scout was all right. In that split second, with a choice to make, he realized the danger wasn't just around him. It was also rooted in the decisions he had yet to face. Would he choose safety for Mia or something deeper, something that echoed in his heart about family and belonging? With one last glance at Mia, uncertainty washed over him like a wave freezing in place, threatening to drown them all. Mike's heart raced, and time seemed to slow down as he wrestled with his choices. The blaring sirens echoed in his ears, and the cries of chaos swirled around him, but all he could hear was Mia's small voice pleading for understanding. Let us go. Mike. Officer Riley urged, urgency clawing at her tone. The sight of Scout skirting through the debris revived a flicker of hope in him. Could he truly leave his loyal companion behind? The dog had been with him through thick and thin, and what would he feel if he didn't at least try? Mia, stay close. He managed, the fear drenching his words. As he pulled free from Officer Riley's grip, he ran toward the chaos that now felt oddly familiar. Each step was a battle between safety and a heart that ached with love for the four-legged friend waiting for him. Mike, please. Officer Riley's voice broke through the noise, but he was already falling into instinct, calling for Scout. Come here, boy. Scout's ears perked up, and without hesitation, he dashed through the rubble, bounding toward Mike, tail wagging furiously. Relief flooded over Mike. It was as if time had stopped, and in that chaos, everything fell into place. Mia, it's okay. He called out, reaching down to scoop up Scout. The moment he lifted the dog into his arms, a wave of reassurance washed over him. It felt like he was remembering something profound, that family wasn't only about blood, but also about loyalty and love. But Officer Riley wasn't going to let them linger long. She ran back, urgency pouring into her voice. We need to go. There's no time for distractions. Mike looked at Mia, who was now watching with wide, worried eyes, clutching tightly to her stuffed bear. The moment felt heavy, and he recognized that the stakes were climbing higher by the second. Okay, sorry, Scout, he murmured to the dog as he tucked him under one arm and took Mia's small hand in his other. Let us get out of here. Striding away from the crumbling home, they followed Officer Riley's lead through the mess of debris and discarded belongings. Each step felt like a test of determination as they dodged fallen branches and shattered glass. Keep moving. Riley shouted, her focus unyielding. We have to get to the perimeter. They're closing in on us. Mike pushed forward, adrenaline igniting his muscles. The cold air felt alive, as if it bore witness to the rising fear and fervor in his heart. A thrumming anxiety mixed with the aching need to protect both Mia and Scout family. In every sense of the word. Around them, the world was fraying at the seams, the cries of the panicking crowd stirring something primal within him. He couldn't shake the sense that whatever was pursuing them was not just an external threat, it was something deeper, darker. A realization settled uneasily within, whispering doubts of what true safety meant. As they crossed into a clearing, the sights took Mike's breath away. Vehicles, flashing lights, and officers filled the space. It was like stepping into an alternate universe where chaos was being fought with order, and yet, underlying it all was an inescapable tension. Who are we running from? Mike blurted out, desperately needing clarity as the adrenaline surged within him. Officer Riley whipped around, her expression grave, tinged with the shadows of experience. People who don't want you to know the truth about the man you left behind. Mia's voice trembled slightly. Daddy, what does she mean? Trapped in a moment of dread, Mike felt the walls closing in again. Could he piece together the truth without jeopardizing the safety of his daughter and their loyal dog? Inside, Confusion swirled like a storm, and he realized that the safety they sought depended on the truth they were running from. In the distance, he saw a figure emerging from the chaos, eyes locked onto them with an unwavering intensity. Mike's heart sank, recognizing the familiar shape as the man he had left behind, the one who once claimed to be Mia's father. Was it possible that the walls of trust he had just built were already beginning to crack? "Don't look back!" Officer Riley yelled, but his feet felt glued to the ground, caught in the tug-of-war between fear and a desperate yearning to understand. There was no turning back now, not with the choice laid bare before him. But understanding wouldn't come without a price. What would he need to face to uncover the truth? And when the time came, would he have the courage to confront the implications? As the chaos of Maplewood swirled around them, Mike stood at the edge of the clearing, heart racing, a whirlwind of emotions churning inside him. Officer Riley's warning hung in the air, heavy with an urgency that pulled him from the depths of doubt. He glanced back at Mia, whose eyes were wide with innocent confusion, an echo of trust flickering within them. His gaze shifted to the man, lingering like a shadow on the fringes of their fractured lives. "Mike, let us move," Officer Riley urged, urgency biting into her words. She pulled on Mia's hand, prompting Mike into motion, but a part of him hesitated. Memories of camaraderie, familiarity, and those fleeting moments whispered from the past, demanding attention. The flicker of vulnerability in Mia's gaze anchored him. She needed him now more than ever. "No. We can't leave him," he declared, his voice an ardent mixture of anger and conviction. The man had claimed his truths while haunting their dreams, and Mike couldn't allow fear to dictate their actions. "Daddy, please!" Mia cried out, her small voice trembling in the tumult of uncertainty. "I need to know the truth," Mike shouted, pinning his focus on the man before him. The air grew dense with tension, but he had made his choice one of unwavering love and courage. Standing against the suffocating shadows, the man stepped forward, desperation flooding his voice. "Mia," he called, his voice raw yet steady. "I swear to you, I've been searching for you. There are forces at play, things you don't understand, dark things I need to protect you from." "Why now?" Mike demanded, irritation and urgency surfacing. "Why weren't you there before?" "I've been trapped," the man replied, the pain in his eyes cutting through the darkness. "Always watching. They wouldn't let me near you. But now I can help. You have to believe me." Every word hung in the air like a promise, and yet it also felt like another layer of betrayal. The voices around him, the steady pulse of chaos, grew quieter as if the world had paused just for this moment of reckoning. Officer Riley stood tense, ready to protect, yet Mike felt the pull of Mia's trust. "Daddy?" Mia's voice broke through, gentle, filled with naive hope. Could he be right? Could he really help us? Mike's heart twisted painfully. He looked down at her, his little girl, her faith unwavering amidst confusion and fear. "We need to figure this out, Mia," he said softly, squatting to meet her gaze, their bond a tether in that fragile moment. "But you have to trust me too, okay? Together we'll find the truth." The man's eyes flickered between them, anguish painted across his face. "I don't want her to be afraid of me. I'm not your enemy," he pleaded, desperation threading through his words. The fabric of Mike's heart stretched painfully as doubt surged within. "If you want to prove yourself, help us. What are we running from? And what do you know about the darkness?" Another tremor echoed through the ground, reminding Mike of the urgency that clung to them like a charged storm. The man opened his mouth, words teetering on the edge of revelation, yet shadows enveloped the promise of clarity. Before anything could be answered, Officer Riley stepped forward, shielding Mia. "We've gotta go now. Whatever is hunting you is close," she warned, eyes flickering toward the forest as threats loomed just outside their grasp. Time was tightening around them, as unyielding as Mike's determination. "Come with us," Mike shouted, the thunder of urgency propelling his words. But the man shook his head, a heavy sorrow mixed with resolve. I'll hold them off. You need to get her to safety. I'll find you, I promise. No. Mia yelled, fear scrunching her face. I don't want you to go. Mike's heart cracked. He had been fighting for Mia's safety, and yet here stood a man who claimed to be her father, a part of her shadowed past inviting them into the unknown. Mia, we have to trust him, but we can't risk everything. You need me safe, and I need you. Mia's small fingers encircled his hand, her face scrunching as tears brimmed. But why are we leaving? Because I love you, Mike said, his voice steady. And sometimes, love means making hard choices. We'll come back for him. I promise. The man took a step back, acceptance swirling in his eyes like a storm. Do what you must, but don't look back, he cautioned, a paternal weight behind his gaze. Let us go. Officer Riley shouted, taking charge as the chaos surged forward, propelling them from the clearing and into an uncertain future. As they fled into the dense trees, a bittersweet determination settled in Mike's chest alongside the grief of leaving someone behind. He wouldn't forget this moment. Each heartbeat echoed a promise to protect Mia, that he would unravel the truth, no matter where it led, or what shadows loomed within his path. As they burst through the brush, frantic footsteps pounding against the earth, Mike vowed silently to himself together, with love as their guiding light, they would confront whatever darkness awaited them. There in the heart of Maplewood, a tale of resilience and hope was just beginning, and they would face each chapter together. Together and undeterred. That if you want more incredible stories like this, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Hit that like button to feed the algorithm. Leave a comment about your feelings on this dramatic ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your actions make a difference.